Wow, it feels like this month only just started, but January is finished already. Time for February. Let's see. Bye-bye, Tom and Harry. We'll see you again, I'm sure. There we go. Now we got Kevin and Christian comments for all of February. Oh, look at that. BrewTuber birthdays. Awesome. Hey guys, and happy Homebrew Wednesday. This week I'll be drinking on a Bigfoot Barley-Whine. I believe this is kind of fitting. Let's go ahead and get it poured out. Beautiful looking beer, just gorgeous. Cheers. Oh, that's smooth. So nice. So I feel it's fitting to have a barley wine this week because I finally brewed up a barley wine. That's right, I had absolute disaster. I was trying to follow a new technique that I heard about on the Brewing Network. Jamil Zainasheff, John Palmer, and John Blickman. And they were talking about using a small system in order to create big beers. Now, my system's not too small. I mean, it's 15 gallons, but you know, it's kind of, it's on the lower spectrum of size. A lot of home brewers have 20 gallons, 30 gallons and up. So 15 gallon kettles are, you know, they're good for making 10 gallons of an average size beer. But what I wanted to do was 10 gallons of a barley wine. So what I ended up doing was following the advice from one of the latest podcasts was to actually do two mashes. And the first run-ins from the first mash would actually be the strike water for the second mash. I half-assed it. So I put in the recipe, one big recipe into Beersmith, and then thought I would just half all the figures and go forward. I made a mistake, probably a couple that night, but the biggest mistake that I made was my strike water for both mashes was way under volume. My initial pre-boil gravity that I wanted to hit was 1105, and I actually did get that gravity, but my pre-boil volume at that point was only half of what it should have been. So I was sort of sweating it at that point. Make a long story short, I ended actually doing a batch sparge, recirculating till it cleared, and then yeah, I batch sparged with 3 extra gallons of water. Brought in 3 extra gallons from both mashes, because after I took out the 3 gallons from the mash that was in the mash tun at the time, I went ahead and took the first mash, put it back into the mash tun, and then re-sparged it with 3 gallons of water. That brought my pre-boil volume up to 13 gallons, which is where I wanted it. But the gravity at that time was 1090, maybe a little bit above that. So what I ended up doing was using about a pound of dextrose and about 600 grams of dry malt extract. And that brought my pre-boil gravity up to 105 pre-boil gravity at 13.5 gallons. And then I boiled that for only 60 minutes. Used East Kent Goldens for the whole thing. And when it came down time to pitch the yeast, I was originally aiming for 1.120. And I think I came up with 1.115, so I was like 5 points low. And that's alright, I'm okay with that. As my first barley wine, you know, I'm willing to make some mistakes. Definitely have some lessons learned and that I'll apply to future big beers like this that I want to make 10 gallons of. Yeah, it's all a learning point. You know, this is my first barley wine, so I'm not gonna get it right. I'm comfortable with that. I know I'm not gonna get it right. I'm gonna make mistakes. So let's go ahead and just get the mistakes out of the way and do the best I can. So I did. That's what I ended up with. Now it's been a week. What was interesting was when I pitched the yeast, I did a yeast starter. I did a 4-liter yeast starter, and I used 4 vials of White Labs 007 in this one, dry English ale yeast. So for this beer, I used the pure pitch yeast packets from White Labs, so these new ones. I thought there was something sort of interesting to note about these if you haven't used these yet. So let me go ahead and cut off and show you something that might actually save you a bit of time in the future. Here you go. Alright, so the yeast is all pitched in there, ready to go. Just about 4 liters, just over 4 liters. Hey, one thing, so it's not the first time I've used these packs for the pure pitch, but it is the first time that I noticed that after I cut off the top, you can actually take this pouch out. See, after a bit, it just sort of slides right out. So you can pull the whole thing out and make sure that you get all of it as much as possible. And then up in the top, it's the same thing. Now, the little pouch that you cut off there, you could theoretically just cut off the very tippy top of that and then pull out the whole thing. But yeah, just thought that was kind of interesting. So that's the yeast packets. So I thought that was sort of something interesting to note and share with you. When I pitched the starter into the beer, everything was fine, everything was great. Next day I came home and of course it had blown off. I had some cleanup to do at the bottom of the hose. I had put it into an Meyer flask, and it just sort of it had overflowed, and then it's just been going. I don't know if you can hear it now, but I can hear it bubbling probably once every 10 seconds, once every 20 seconds. So it's been going solid now for a good 8 days. Solid. So I'm going to wait until those until I can stop hearing the CO2 coming out, and I'll wait for that sort of signal. When it really dies down, I only hear a bubble every, I don't know, every minute, maybe every 2 minutes, and then I'll dry hop it, and then I'll rack it into a secondary vessel where it will condition for probably up to 12 weeks. What was really kind of cool about that beer is that even though I took first run-ins and second run-ins, I was able to take third run-ins and make this guy over here. The second run-ins that I had coming out for the Barley-Whine was at 1.065. So there was still quite a bit of sugars left in those grains. For the third run-ins, they were still quite high. I ended up with a 5-gallon batch. I got 7 gallons in the boil kettle at 1030 wort. Boiled it for an hour and took it out. My OG was 1040. So I did a gravity sample today. I pitched a US-05 on it, and it was down to 1.006. So that's about a 4.5%er, which is basically just the result of the Barley-Whine. Party Guile, I'm pretty happy about that. 15 gallons out of a single grain bill. Granted, it was a big ass grain bill. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do a brew day footage on that one, because even though I did take footage throughout most of the day, I did get a little bit chatty towards the end of the night with Sam, the thrifty brewer, and things got carried away. The camera didn't quite capture the final moments. I do have footage of pitching the yeast and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to put that video out. I want to give a shout out to Wally Feck, because on my last Homebrew Wednesday, where I was talking about the cleaning, using the pumps and the submersible pump for cleaning out kegs, cleaning out your fermenters, cleaning out the lines. I had another small pump that I used to clean out the lines in my keezer. He pointed me to a product over on brewhardware.com that I thought was pretty cool. So here's what he showed me. He showed me this guy right here. You see that? That's like a post, so a ball lock post, and it's got two little holes that go all the way through it. And you can connect two of your ball locks together and sort of daisy chain them together. What's really cool about this is that you can bring your pump in your cleaning solution in one of your taps, connect the ball valves at the other end, and daisy chain them throughout your next tap, and then feed it into your next tap, and then daisy chain them as many taps as you have. I went ahead and bought 4 of these things. They're only $5, maybe 5 something, $5.95, who knows. Even if it's $6, totally worth it for cleaning and doing all your lines at one time. So I thought that was really cool. I got a quick little clip here to show you how it would work. So let me go ahead and show you that now. Okay, so an alternative to cleaning the lines, in order to not have to rely on this piece, is actually just to run a rubber hose from the pump into another rubber hose. If you got the right size, just go directly up into the tap, open it up, it will go in, and then using one of these connectors, one of these guys, you use that post to connect 2 of your ball locks, and then come out from the other one, feed a tube back into the second one, and then have another one of these, so that then you can connect the other ball locks to the next one, and then in line, then come out and just have your return line. And depending on how many of these you have, you can go as many taps as you can, as long as your pump is powerful enough to push fluid through all that line and then return back out to the cleaning source. So yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. It's been a while since I did the Mead, but I did take a little bit of video snapshots of it, so let me go ahead and show you a quick clip, and you'll see how it's coming along. Here you go. Okay, so here's the Mead. It's been a while, but you can see it's definitely lightened up and cleared up pretty significantly. Got a nice little yeast cake on there. I haven't taken a gravity sample from it, but I should probably do that one of these days soon. So there you go. It's really nice. It's really clear. I was thinking about waiting to rack it into a secondary vessel, so that then I can just go ahead and rack right on top of it a new Mead on top of that same yeast. But I don't know yet. Maybe I'll just go ahead and take the yeast out, wash it, and store it for the next go. I really haven't decided on that yet, but it's a Mead, so I don't think I have to hurry it along too much. It's got plenty of time to just condition, so I think it's safe where it is, and we'll just let it go. I will probably do an update, take a sample, and taste it, see how it's coming along, and share that with you. Beyond that, guys, there's not a whole lot going on. I've got this week of work, and then I'm taking next week off for the traditional winter ski vacation that we do every year. Normally we go up to a ski resort here in Norway called Hemsedal. We've done that for like the last 5 years. But this year we're going to go up to Trysil and try that out. If anybody's been up there, or if you're going to be up there, let me know, and we'll see if we can hook up and have a beer or something like that. But yeah, that's all that's going on here, guys. I do have plans for 2 beer weekends, 2 brew days after that holiday. So when I come back, the first weekend, I've got a brew day planned with a friend of mine. He wants to do the Monterey Street Pale Ale, and we're going to be using his water from his cabin out in Sweden. So he's out there collecting about 10 gallons. I'm going to come back with that. We're going to use that water. I'm going to test it with the Lamont brew kit and make sure we get the water right. The weekend after that, I got another friend coming over from Oslo, and we're going to brew up. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't care what we're going to brew. He just wants to brew. So I think I'm going to use that weekend to brew up the Doppelbock. So that should be interesting. Yeah. It's looking pretty good. It's got a late start here of the year for brewing, but things are looking bright, at least for the end of the first quarter. So pretty happy about that. So anyways, that's all. I hope you guys are having a hell of a week and have a better weekend. Cheers.